All right, let's dive into a document that honestly is one of the quiet superstars of international shipping, the packing list. It might seem like just another piece of paper, but this little document can literally be the difference between your shipment gliding smoothly through customs or getting stuck in a total logistical nightmare.
We've all been there, right? You're tracking your shipment, and then nothing. It just stops moving. It's stuck. And every single day it sits in customs is costing you time, and it's costing you money. So you have to ask, why does this happen? And more importantly, how on earth can you stop it from happening? Well, the answer often comes down to one critical and very often overlooked document. And here it is, meet the packing list, the unsung hero of global trade. At its heart, it's a really simple concept. It's a detailed checklist from your supplier that spells out exactly what's inside your shipment. The best way to think of it, it's like a passport and an itinerary for your cargo, all rolled into one. It tells everyone involved, from the freight forwarder to the customs agent, exactly what they're looking at. So, what gives this document so much power? Well, it is all about the details. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the essential information that every single packing list needs to have to keep your goods on the move. Okay, so this isn't just about what's inside the box. It's about the box itself and all the boxes together. Of course, you need a description and the quantity, but you also need the number of cartons, the dimensions of each one, and, this is crucial, both the net weight, which is just the products, and the gross weight, which includes all the packaging. It all rolls up into the total weight and the total volume, which is usually measured in cubic meters or CBM. Let's make this a little more real. Say you're importing 1,000 Bluetooth speakers from a factory in Shenzhen. Your packing list is going to boil that whole order down into a few key numbers, just like this. It'll show there are 100 cartons with 10 speakers packed inside each one. The total gross weight is 800 kilograms, and the total space it takes up, the volume, is 3.6 cubic meters. Believe me, every single number you see here is going to be used by somebody down the line.
And that brings us to the most important point. This is not just administrative fluff. The packing list is a foundational document. It's the blueprint that almost every single person in your shipment's journey depends on to do their job right.
Think of it as the single source of truth for your cargo. Customs officials, they're going to hold it right next to the commercial invoice to make sure the story adds up. Airlines and shipping lines use its weight and volume to figure out exactly how much to charge you. Your freight forwarder uses it to plan out the entire logistical puzzle. And when it finally arrives, the warehouse staff use it to check that everything that was supposed to be sent actually arrived. One document, so many critical jobs.
And really, that's the whole point, isn't it? Predictability. In the world of logistics, surprises are almost always bad news. A clear, accurate packing list means no surprises. It means what you planned for is what actually happens, and it cuts out all those frustrating, expensive, and totally avoidable problems.
Because if that list is wrong, it starts a domino effect. Any kind of mismatch can trigger extra, intensive customs inspections. If the weight or volume is off, you're looking at recalculated, and you guessed it, probably higher freight charges. All of this, of course, leads to clearance delays. It can even spark disputes about what was or wasn't shipped in the first place. It all comes back to that sinking feeling of seeing your shipment just sitting there, stuck.
Now, a packing list is always important, but what people look for on it changes a bit depending on how you're shipping. The priorities for air freight are really different from sea freight, so let's break that down.
Here's the core difference you need to know. For air freight, where space and weight are at an absolute premium, it's all about something called chargeable weight. Basically, the airline looks at how heavy your shipment is versus how bulky it is, and they charge you for whichever is greater. But for sea freight, the main game is usually about space, the total volume in cubic meters, or CBM. That determines how much room your cargo takes up in a big shipping container.
And this table lays it out perfectly. In the air, a tiny error in the dimensions can mean your costs get recalculated on the spot. The sensitivity is incredibly high. With sea freight, an error in the CBM could mean you end up booking the wrong size container, or you get hit with surprise charges if you're sharing a container, what's known as an LCL shipment. The sensitivity is still high, but the type of problem it causes is different. It's the same document, just used to solve two very different puzzles. Okay, so knowing all this, the smart thing to do is learn how to spot trouble before it even starts. So let's go over the most common and most costly mistakes that pop up on packing lists. These are the red flags you absolutely need to watch out for.
Now, these might look basic, but they happen all the time. Quantities that don't match the purchase order. Product descriptions that are way too vague for customs, like just saying electronics. Dimensions that just don't match the actual boxes. Forgetting to separate the net and gross weight. or just not being clear about how many units are in each box. Any one of these can turn into a massive headache.
But here's the really good news. Preventing these mistakes is actually pretty straightforward. You don't need to be a logistics genius, you just need to have a simple process in place. So let's walk through a quick checklist you can use for your very next shipment.
This is your action plan. It's 4 simple steps. 1. Always ask your supplier for a draft packing list before the shipment leaves. This is your chance to catch mistakes. 2. Match the quantities line by line against your purchase order. 3. Just do a quick reality check. Do the weights and dimensions seem reasonable for what you bought? And 4. Make sure the information on the packing list is perfectly consistent with the commercial invoice. These 4 steps will prevent 99% of potential problems.
So to wrap it all up, what's the big takeaway here? The packing list is not just paperwork. It is the command and control document for your shipment. It's the roadmap that everyone from customs to your carrier relies on. It directly decides your costs and your timeline. And honestly, taking just a few minutes to make sure it's precise is the single best thing you can do to avoid delays, arguments, and those nasty, unexpected costs.
Which brings me to one final thought. Is the packing list really just another document to check off a list, or is it something more? Maybe it's better to think of it as an insurance policy for your shipment. That small, proactive step you take to protect your cargo, your schedule, and your bottom line.